Hey guys, Day Worker Night Trader here. Today we're going to cover a very important topic, which is how do you go about deciding what to invest in. I'm going to share with you my own personal criteria as well as my personal choice of whether I wanted to invest in the US stock market or invest in real estate in my home country. If you find this video relevant, please help to like and subscribe. Without any further ado, let's make some money.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to me in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, getting the licks in the band. Legacies.
Hey guys, welcome to the third lessons, and today we're going to discuss about what to invest in. And I'm going to share with you some of the criteria that I personally use and some information I personally look at before I decide to invest in anything. And before we go into the details of the video today, let me share this screenshot from the videos I uploaded yesterday. So these are the strike price of the options that I'm selling this week. I'm on track to make $1,440 this week just by selling this put contract. If you're interested in making some money weekly similar to what I do over here, please go and check out that video. In that video, I have explained in details what options are, what is the meaning of selling cash secured put, and also my strategies in selecting the strike price so that the likelihood of you making money is being maximized and you stand to earn $100 to $1,000 per week. So please go and check that out. Here are the 4 criteria I personally use before I decide to put my money into any form of investment: return, liquidity, tax implications, and exchange rate. The first one is return, right? So the return refers to the potential earning that you're going to get if you decide to invest right now. One of the best indicators of how much money that you're going to get is to look at the historical return. I'm actually looking for 2 things. Number 1, over a long period of time, what is the percentage of profit that I would be able to get? And the second thing, I'm going to look for signs of volatilities. So first of all, let's take a look at the US stock market. SP 500 is the index on the price of the top 500 stocks in the US, ranked by market cap. In the past 5 years, the market actually nearly doubled from about 2,000 points to I think now it's already hitting 399 something, and we're looking to break 4,000. Secondly, Nasdaq, right, is actually a more tech-focused stocks. The Nasdaq actually tripled in the past 5 years. So from here you can see that the US stock market is on an incredible run in the past 5 years. And especially if you're looking at SP 500 as well as Nasdaq, you do see some dips, right, in the past 5 years. But what happens is that the stock quickly returned to the historical high after 6 to 8 months, and overall, even if you are entering in the peaks over here, you are still coming out with the returns of 20 to 30% a year. So it shows the resilience of the market as well as how strong US stock market is a form of investment. Now the second thing, Vietnam real estate. I unfortunately, when I tried to Google 2-3 times, but I couldn't find any indicators overall for the whole market. So I'm just going to share some of the things I found out here. Yes, this is the index pricing for condominiums in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, and I believe that the starting point here is about 2017 and the ending is 2019. So in the 4 years, Hanoi condominium pricing flat. Ho Chi Minh City grew by 30%, nothing impressive compared to the US. This is the second figure they got from another companies. If we're looking at the residential estate, so this is residential estate. 2 observations. Number 1, plus 7% in the past. Here I believe is 2014 to 2019. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 years, plus 7%. Here, 5 year plus 5%. The second thing is that let me just zoom in one of the chart here and show you guys. On the left hand side here is actually the normalized index, and the 100 points here is actually Q1 2009. So what it means is that 10 years after 2009, there could be some bubble that happens in the past, such that in the past 10 years the market hasn't come back to that level. So I do feel that it's a very risky thing, and it's going to be a red flag for me. 10 years and we haven't gotten back to the historical high. While if you just go back to the US market, right, if you're entering in any previous high, the market quickly bounce back after 6 to 8 months and you are good to go. Lastly, see, I have an overall real estate indicator over here. So probably this cover both residential, commercial, and industrial. It could be something that's beyond residential, right? For me, when I'm investing, right, probably I won't be able to get my hands on commercial or industrial land. So for residentials, right, I'm just going to stay close to this number over here, 7%, 5%, or even 30% here. Compared to the return that we see previously for Nasdaq, I don't think I'm going to invest in the Vietnam market if this is the return. So after looking at the return, which seems to favor US stock market, we need to take a look at the risk, right? So risk here is about the variations in the returns that you get. So if you're investing in the stock market, probably it has something to do with the kind of company that you're picking, the industry that you want to pick, the sector that you want to pick. Even across industry and sector, how big and how small the company, how early, what stage your company is in also matters. But last but not least, right, for the US stock market, if you believe in America, you can just invest in market index, right? SP 500, Nasdaq is a way for you to diversify your risk. On the Vietnam real estate side, right, the variation in return is going to be huge because you are considering to buy a piece of land or you're considering to buy a house, right? Locations matters. Whether there's going to be any nearby developments that's going to happen in the next 5-10 years, that matters. The current state of the properties, is it ready for you to be rented out, or you need to do major renovations and so on. Next thing, feng shui. Feng shui is an important thing in Vietnam, and this is also something that keeps me away from investing in Vietnam real estate. There's a lot of things that impacts the valuations of a piece of land, like feng shui, the sentimental values, because as Asians people, we value having a roof over our head. But none of these things are fundamentals to the values of the properties or the piece of land. So I don't want to buy into these sentimental values that may disappear one day. Therefore, I don't want to get into that. If you're investing in US stock market, there are actually ways for you to make additional money. Number one is in the form of option. So I made 2 videos about options that I'm going to leave the link in the description over here. For me, right, it's a simple way for me to spend 1 hour every single day pressing a few buttons, and I would be able to make thousands of dollars every single week. And the second way that a passive investor can make money is, of course, from the dividends that the stock is giving in. The equivalent of that, if you decide to buy a piece of land, or you decide to build a house, or you decide to buy a house in Vietnam, is to rent it out. For me, renting is a bit troublesome, right? Because you need to take care of finding the tenants, you need to take care of the negotiations, signing of the contracts, and if there is anything that happens to the house, you need to take care of the fixing. And there's a lot of hassles that comes with owning a house and renting it out. While for me, pressing a few buttons, trading options is a better things for me. So I personally, I prefer going with the US stock market side. Now coming to the next piece, which is super important, liquidity. The definitions of liquidity is how easy for you to buy and sell the piece of land or the stocks and whatever that is without impacting the price of the investment. For US stock market, it's super easy. You can instantly sell the assets and get back the money.
Poof! And it's gone!
But for Vietnam real estate, it's not so easy. The process of getting a buyer is troublesome. You probably need to wait for weeks or months, probably more than the time that it takes for you to sign up for a broker account with Interactive Broker. With very low commission fee, you get access to a lot of things like bonds, stocks, and ETF. And last but not least, when you sign up and deposit your money, you get 1% of your first deposit in the form of Interactive Broker stocks, up to $1,000. So it's a very good deal. Almost as good as my sense of humor and my editing skill. So now let's talk about some of the costs that are associated with low liquidity. Number one, spread. You need to buy at a slightly higher price if you want to buy something fast, and if you want the cash immediately, you also need to sell at a slightly lower price in order to entice the buyer to buy it from you. And on top of that, let me just list out a few hidden costs and a few inconveniences to your life that comes from this low liquidity. Number one, mortgage. More often than not, right, if you buy a piece of land and you buy a house, you won't have enough capital to buy the full things, so you pay up front 20 to 30%, and at the same time you're going to pay the cost of the mortgage, right, for depending on your schedule that you choose to, 10 years, 15 years, 25 years. If the liquidity is so low, you are shackled to these financial obligations, right? If you want to take a break from the current job, probably you can because you have the mortgage obligations. If suddenly you need some money for a personal emergency, if you suddenly fall sick, if touch wood, if one of your family members suddenly need urgent medical care, then you need a constant source of income for every single month. You can't. You are tied up with the obligations of paying for the mortgage. The second cost that we're talking about here is going to be opportunity cost. For example, now you don't know anything about money, you hear from your friends that, hey, this is an excellent opportunity, please invest in a piece of land or a house in Vietnam, right? And you heard that 8% a year, 10% a year is a good way for you to make money. But after you learn about the US stock market, after you watch my video, see you can get 0.5% a week, and in general the market goes up and double every single 5 years. You think that, hey, this is a very good opportunity. But you can't get out of the current house very easily, right? It takes a few weeks and a few months for you to sell off the house, to find a buyer, to sell the house, to do the documentation, and to arrange with the bank to transfer the mortgage. And like, there's a lot of things that is involved with this kind of transaction. So you're missing out on the opportunity. The next thing that you need to care about is tax and duty. So some income is taxed and some income is not. My tax rate on selling stocks and getting the profit from stock is 0%. On the other hand, if I'm investing in a Vietnam real estate, I'm going to need to pay various tax and duty on transactions, on the income that I generate from selling the properties, as well as from rental income above a certain threshold. And lastly, I also need to pay for stamp duty. All this kind of tax is going to eat into my profit, and hence I think based on tax and duty, the choice is quite straightforward for me to invest in the US stock market. Lastly, very quick one, exchange rate, because I'm now investing in two assets in two different countries, right? So I need to be concerned about whether the US is appreciating or depreciating against Vietnamese dong. So this is quite straightforward. In the past more than 10 years, the US actually has appreciated more than 35% against the Vietnamese dong. So yeah, it's a straightforward choice for me. I want to invest in US market, getting my profit in USD instead of getting my profit in Vietnam dong. That's it for today, guys. I hope you guys have learned a thing or two about how to make investment decisions based on the criteria that I have laid out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section. If you find my video helpful, please help to like and subscribe to the channel because the channel is so super new. And please, for your benefit, you can also check out the series that I have done on how I have made $5,000 a week on trading options in the US stock market. And I actually have a full-time day job and I'm doing this recreationally at night. So I do believe that if you spend some time to learn, you would be able to make some money and achieve the same gains that I'm getting today. That's it, guys, for today. See you next time. And until then, let's make some money.
Panda. I got broads in Atlanta, just to throw me in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, getting no licks in the bank. Legacies.